Mr. Steve Maritas. Did I get it right?
Maritas, yes.
Maritas.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chairman Lieberman,
Welcome.
members of the board. My name is Steve Maritas, and I am the organizing director of the International Union Security, Police, and Fire Professionals of America, SPFPA, the largest, oldest, and fastest-growing 9B3 security police union in the country today. I bring greetings from our international president, David L. Hickey, and our executive board. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak, not only on behalf of the SPFPA, but on behalf of the organized labor and workers everywhere who wish to join a union. To give you a little background about myself, for over 30 years, I've been at the forefront of the labor movement, as well as a union organizer working with many unions in various industries and issues, including Employee Free Choice Act. I've learned all about the benefits of belonging to a union at a very young age, whereby my father, Teddy Maritas, former president of the New York District Council of Carpenters back in the late 70s, taught me the importance of belonging to a union. Unionization was in my blood, and I was determined to become a union organizer walking in my father's footsteps. This was evident by the fact that my mother told me my first words out of my mouth was not mommy or daddy, but union. On September 11th, all of our lives changed. For me, this change of events brought me to Michigan. Over the last 10 years, as organizing director of the SPFPA, our union has filed hundreds of representation petitions, averaging about 100 campaign elections per year. Statistically, our union has been listed by BNA year after year as one of the top 15 most active organizing unions in the United States today. BNA has also recognized us as being the top 5 unions in the country in regards to the number of campaigns run and the number of workers successfully organized, averaging about 3,000 to 4,000 members per year. In addition to these achievements, the SPFPA organizing department, which consists of 3 full-time organizers, Mr. Joseph McCrae, Dwayne Phillips, and myself, have the highest win rate amongst all unions, a 78% win rate, a record I am proud of. As I stand here today, I continue to fight for the rights of workers everywhere, and in doing so, I'm in support of the proposal that streamlines the process and limits the union-busting tactics used by employers in these union campaigns. Over the last 2 days, you have heard over and over again by high-priced union-busting attorneys and consultants that they are concerned about workers' rights and the effects it would have if this proposal was enacted. This is a lie. You have heard that the average election takes place within 36 days of filing a petition. This is a lie. It's 42 days or longer, and that's if you get an election. You've heard that management first becomes aware of union organizers' drive only after a petition is filed. This is a lie. The truth of the matter is management is not concerned about workers' rights, but in turn, they are more concerned with keeping 100% control of their business, to do whatever they want, whenever they want, at all costs. Martin J. Levitt, author of A Confession of a Union Buster, defines union busting as a practice that is undertaken by an employer or their agents to prevent employees from joining a union or to disempower, subvert, or destroy unions that already exist. Union busting is a field populated by bullies and built on deceit. A campaign against the union is an assault on individuals and a war on the truth. As such, it is a war without honor. The only way to bust a union is to lie, distort, manipulate, threaten, and always attack. While the National Labor Relations Act under Section 7 rights states that employees shall have the right to self-organization, to form, join, or assist labor organizations, to bargain collectively, to representatives of their own choosing, and to engage in other coerced activities for the purpose of collective bargaining or mutual aid and protection, or to refrain as such. The truth is, this can only happen if workers trying to form a union can withstand the psychological warfare that they're going to experience by management and their anti-union busting attorneys, consultants, and persuaders over the next 42 days preceding their union election. Psychological warfare is defined the planned use of propaganda and other psychological actions having the primary purpose of influencing opinions, emotions, attitudes, and behavior of hostile foreign groups, which are union supporters, in such a way as to support the achievement of national objective, which is the company. This is what management calls free speech. Over the last 70 years, labor law has always been a friend to the employer and an enemy to the worker. As this board sets the course to make history, I commend all of you for taking the initiative and making the right direction. However, there are two parts to this problem. The first is being addressed today before this board. The second part which needs to be addressed is to establish a timetable that shortens the election process from 42 days to 21 days, making it illegal to hold mandatory union-busting meetings without allowing equal access so that both sides can be heard. This will allow employees to ask questions without fear, without coercion, without intimidation. Authorizing civil penalties up to $20,000 per violation on an NLRB finding of willful and repeated violation of employee statutory rights by an employer or union during a union campaign. Authorizing the NLRB to back pay without reduction for mitigation when an employee is lawfully fired. Requiring both the union and management to begin negotiations within 21 days after a union is certified. If there is no agreement after 121 days from the first meeting, either party may call for mediation by the Federal Mediation and Consolidation Service and binding arbitration thereafter if need be. On finding that a party is not negotiating in good faith, an order may be issued establishing a schedule for negotiation and imposing costs and attorney fees. Broaden the provisions for injunctive relief with reasonable attorney fees on a finding that either party is not acting in good faith. The list goes on, and I will put it in writing for you. In conclusion, I want to thank Chairman Lieberman and the board for this opportunity to present my views and to leave you with this final thought. Unions don't organize workers. Management does it for us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments today. Anybody have questions?
Yes.
You said you got a 78% win rate. What accounts for that?
Counting on how we do it,
Yeah, what accounts for it?
knowing what they're going to do before they do it. It's education. Union busting is an art. One thing that, management does with these consultants is that they have a handwritten book that they just do over and over and over again. So when you, pretty much, if you know what they're going to do, you educate the employees prior to a union busting campaign exactly what's going to happen. So as soon as management goes in and handles a union busting meeting or starts telling them some of the propaganda, we have a checklist, and all of a sudden they start checking off one by one by one, and they say, well, I must be the smartest guy in the world because I told them this is exactly what's going to happen. So primarily it's education.
Now, there's been testimony about management not knowing about the union campaign until the petition is filed.
That's correct.
And you said that that's inaccurate. What's been your experience?
Well, my experience is, first of all, if management doesn't know what's going on with their business, they got a problem. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when you start organizing, workers are disgruntled. You have first-line supervisors that are there. There's got to be a communication gap within. Testimony, one of the speakers prior to testified that with the unfair labor charges that took place prior to an election even being filed. They're aware of it. They know who the key people are. My experience is when our key guy goes in, a number of things happen. Number one, we identify who the lead organizers are. And the reason why we do that is for their protection, because we have a documentation showing exactly that they are the organizer, and if they should be fired in the interim, that they would be protected. We would have backup document. And I tell you, my experience by doing that has protected them from being fired in most of my campaigns, whereas you don't identify the particular organizer, then all of a sudden they're fired for one reason or another, and then you have to prove that it was because of union activity.
So these organizers are identified before the petition is even filed?
That's correct. Once we get started, we will send a letter to management identifying the organizing committee, letting them know what their rights are as an employee and not to, retaliate against them. And if they do, then we'll take the appropriate action.
Do you do all the representation procedures yourself, or do you hire attorneys?
Well, we have an attorney, but I work very closely with my attorney, and we both strategize if we have a hearing or so forth, so depending on the issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony here